Good morning to all the readers out there in the world. My name is Erin and welcome back to my booktube channel, where today I will be listing my favorite books on every single shelf in my bedroom, excluding every single book in the rest of the house, because there are books in every single room, yes, even the bathroom too. This is the most current version of this series of videos because I am always buying new books and reading them, so let's just call this one the early December 2021 edition of Favorite Books on Every Shelf Currently. So let's jump right into the video. There are 7 shelves total on my desk alone where I do all my work 24/7, and my favorite books on every shelf include That Summer by Sarah Dessen, Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh, 10 After Closing by Jessica Bayless, The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James, then we have Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis, and then we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Now on to my book in closet shelves. I say book in instead of walk in because there are more books than there is room to walk in my closet, which was once a walk-in closet, but I cluttered it up with books, so I call it my book-in closet. Girl Missing by Tess Gerritsen, which is one of the first books that I read when I started my booktube channel. However, I did not review this until fairly recently, so this I still consider one of the Gen 1 books, if that makes any sense. And then we have Field of Bones by J.A. Jance. This is my first J.A. Jance novel, and I read it around the time of the Ariel Castro case. So this book was really interesting to me, and as you can see, the spine is all cracked. I devoured this book in a matter of days, and then my mom devoured this in a matter of days. My dad devoured this in a matter of weeks, and basically everyone in my family read this book. And my grandpa, I had no idea he read this book, and he was like, oh yeah, I love it. And so we were talking on the phone for over an hour and a half just about this book alone and how we both wish there was a movie adaptation of this book. So yes, this book is extremely special to me because I bonded with my grandfather over this book. Then we have The Long Walk by Stephen King. This was also published under the name Richard Bachman. This book, I have to say, is so incredible, and I would have to say that it's quite probably my favorite book that is written under the name Richard Bachman. And I do wish there was a movie adaptation of this book because it was so cool. We have Lucky Girl by Jamie Packton. This was published a few months ago, and it's still a fairly unknown book as far as I am aware. I reviewed this on my channel, and I hope you guys check out that video too because this book is so worth reading and I loved it. And then there's Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Sasha Alsberg, another booktuber, raves about this book over all else, seemingly, and I wanted to get in on the Outlander action, and oh wow, I just found a bookmark. I wanted to get into the Outlander series because my mom had also read the books, so I just wanted to know what Sasha Alsberg and my mom were both raving about, and I got up to part 3, and then I set the book aside because I got distracted with another book. So my apologies to Diana Gabaldon. I will try to devour this book in 2022, but we'll see what happens. Moving on to my window bookshelves, my favorite books include Craven Manor by Darcy Coates, which I actually wrote a fan fiction about, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, Gone by Michael Grant, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. As far as my window shelves go, I actually have 5 shelves, but I don't actually have a 5th favorite book on the 5th window shelf, so that's why I only have 4 books right now. Moving on to giant bookcase number 1, those book favorites include City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. This is a favorite book because Jace and Clary can finally be together because, as it turns out, they are not brother and sister like they were originally led to believe, so I am very happy reading this book over and over and over again. We also have The Lost Girl by R.L. Stine and Savage Vow by Zoe Blake. I have an unhealthy obsession with Gregor Ivanov, and I would marry him at midnight if he proposed at dinner. Then we have an old classic, 6 Months Later by Natalie D. Richards, which is so worth the read. And After the Game by Abby Glantz, which changed one aspect of my life that I will always remember. Then we have a book that everyone seems to know and so many seem to love, The Hunger Games. I am under the impression that the movies were actually better than the books because Katniss seemed like such a different person in the movies than she was in the books, and I just have to say that I liked her more in the movies, so even though I loved the movies better than the books, this still makes the list. And then we have The Silence by Tim Levin, which I absolutely loved. I should have mentioned before that there is an 8th shelf on my giant bookcase #1, so I do not have any favorites on the 8th shelf, so my apologies. That's why I listed only 7 books there. And now, moving on to giant bookcase #2, my favorite books include Sun and Moon, Ice and Snow by Jessica Day George, The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima, which I love rereading on rainy days, I do not know why. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which is one of my favorite LGBT fiction novels of all time. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. Crank or Glass by Ellen Hopkins. I seriously could not make up my mind which book was better, so I just said both in this video. And a book that is very near and dear to my heart, we have Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeffer, and I say this book is near and dear to my heart because my 8th grade English teacher, who I absolutely loved, recommended me this book. She said she knew I would love this book, and yes, she was right. Moving on to my final wall shelf, which we have 2 in total. My favorites include Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. We have A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I love Wingspan, Chapter 55, and basically everything about this book. Less Tamlin, more Rhysand. Everything in this book is so beautiful. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot stop raving about it. And that book is also tied with A Court of Silver Flames, also by Sarah J. Maas. I loved this book. I loved reading this book. I loved Nesta's character development because I feel she's the one who changed the most in the entire Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I could definitely reread this book again and again and again. And yes, even though it is over 700 pages now that I look. So anyway, this book is just so perfect. I highly recommend it, and I recommend the entire Court of Thorns and Roses series. Anyway, that is all for today, so if you enjoyed my video, hit that like button to show some support, subscribe to my BookTube channel to get more videos like this, turn on those notifications to be notified when I have a brand new video uploaded. Keep on reading, and have a great day, everyone!